Happy today. I am William Brown from IamWilliamBrown.com. This is Disconnect to Connect, one word conversations. This is the moment where I tell you about our sponsor, IamWilliamBrown.com, a place where you can have conversations and see items. And I also offer coaching and all that other kind of stuff around being yourself and living your life. One way that I spotlight IamWilliamBrown.com is with our U cards. U cards are intention setting cards, and also it's a game. So it's a game for everyone, for couples, for families, and so it's fun. It's like three things in one. So I don't know, silliness just came over me. So so the U cards that I have for today, I picked to set the intentions for today is I am grateful, you are complete, and the quote card is be you, do you, for you. Breathe. And with that in mind, I will introduce our word, the stillness. And this is something that is definitely present for me right now. And I am so glad and excited to have this conversation. I'm one of those people, I will say that before I bring in my guest, is that, as you can see, some of you can see that I needed Batman for this conversation. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that, Batman is also here. So with that in mind, I will bring up my guests and we will have a conversation. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is the moment of the conversation that I ask my guests to introduce themselves however it feels comfortable.
Great. First of all, thank you, William, for having me as a guest today. I'm so excited and grateful to be here. So, a little bit about me. Well, my name is Kajal Dhabalia, and I'm a graphic designer by trade, but at heart, I love all things creative and spiritual, specifically being yoga, food, and art. I run an online creative design boutique where I offer design services as well as I create gifts, art gifts and tools to help people nurture their spirits and just keep inspiration flowing. And so, unfortunately, my store is temporarily closed through the summer, but I'm really grateful for this time because this pause has allowed me to put some time toward writing, and I've had a few books kind of tucked deep in my heart for a while now. And so the first is a book, A Beginner's Guide to Meditation.
Oh, wow.
It's at the heart of everything I do with my work. And the other book is, it's going to be where I really bring together yoga, food, and art through nourishing your soul through recipes, rituals, and connecting with the divine. So I'm really excited about both of those. So that's
wow. Well, no, that's great. I really I appreciate your work because you have, I don't know if they're kindness cards or something, but I share those all the time. I'm running out, so I have to, wait for the store to open back up so I can get some more. But those are just wonderful things that it really stepped up my kindness game. So thank you.
That's so great to hear. I love that.
So you can
I love
do that.
hearing that.
So the question of the morning is, how does the word stillness land for you?
Well, it's one of my favorite words. I feel like stillness is where the magic inside of us lives. And I feel like when we really are able to turn inward, we're able to be present and just be able to tap into a much more divine part of us that's
Right.
always there. But when it gets really noisy and we get really caught up into the chaos of life, and we mirror it on the inside, then it gets hard to hear that because there's no stillness. So
Right.
stillness is, I think, very important.
Right. I mean, I totally get that. The challenge with me is in the busyness, right?
Mm-hmm.
I say a lot. It's kind of a joke that I have. It's like this fine line between self-care and being lazy, right? So it's like, okay, I'm just going to be still right now and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, no, you're just being lazy right now. Let's stop it. Get to work, right? Type of thing. And just really recognizing for myself within the busyness of everything and all the things that are important to me and all the things that I want to show up for, that there is still moments of stillness that has to be a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that doing, that really will make a difference. Is that stillness. Someone
Mm-hmm.
recently said something, and I can't remember who it was, but
Mm-hmm.
and it could have been on one of the shows, so it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of crazy. But they equated it as like the heartbeat, that within, the beat of the heart is that pause that
Mm-hmm.
kind of keeps it going. And it's like, I've never heard that pause is needed, to
Mm-hmm.
kind of keep it going, to kind of,
Mm-hmm.
kind of, and it really, it's really causing me to kind of embrace and look to being still, and not fearing that quiet or those momentary pauses.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Definitely. Well, I feel like, it's um it's an interesting practice, right? Because when you like stillness, like you just defined it, can mean a lot of things. Sometimes it just means stopping.
Right.
And you said in that instance, you're like, this is just laziness too, on one hand, but it's
Right.
not, like when we stop, we are, and, and when I'm thinking of stillness, I'm thinking of like an actively engaged stillness,
Hmm.
it's where you're really, the reason you're tuning inward is because like this pandemic is showing, like everything externally can be so chaotic, and even though we're at a little bit of a halt in some ways with our normal lives, it still feels like, everybody I talk to, including myself, it feels like the world's upside down, and
Right.
there's so much chaos going on.
Right.
But this clearly, I feel like, is a message of, there's nothing external that we like truly have control over except for ourselves. And so
Right.
figuring out how to harness that stillness within, it kind of, it gives us, I mean, if you think about it, if the only thing we really have control over is ourselves, and if in our internal landscape, then if we can make our internal landscape the calmest place on earth, then we tap into a really powerful source, a
Right.
force.
Wow.
And so that's what I think stillness is, like an active, but is an active thing.
Right. Wow. There's a level of calmness that just came after you said that. If there is, for me, just because there is this crazy uncertainty, upside down existence, awareness outside of me, that doesn't have to be my internal state.
Yeah.
And too often it feels like I'm trying to bring that in, and I
Yeah.
bring the crazy in, right? It's like,
Yeah.
no, you
Yeah.
know, if I look inward, if I become still,
Mhm.
then my stillness can create my world, right?
Mhm.
So my world expands,
Yeah.
so my awareness of everything else becomes still. I can find the stillness in other. Now that was just what I call, hot off the presses, meaning that it was in my head. it came out of my mouth before I had any understanding of it. So hopefully that made sense, right? Right. But it just really, it really brought me to a place now. I don't want to say it's like a game. It's like it is something that I want to do. Hey, let's see if I can, I can calm myself.
Yeah.
I've noticed, anytime that most of the times when I try something new, but especially when I have tried, yoga or, and even, meditation, or something, I would have instructors and things say, breathe, right?
Mm-hmm.
I need you to breathe. I need you to, and it's like for me, every time I try to do something new, or every time I try to quote unquote get control of something, what happens is I stop breathing. I
Mm.
stop, and it's kind of okay. I need my attention focused being somewhere else, and it just really, it's causing me to really think right now that in my stillness there is that active, there is breathing, there is an awareness of breath, there is still an intention
Mm-hmm.
to really, I don't say, I don't, is it bring things into order or just kind of settle things?
Well, I think that what meditation allows us to do is that it kind of meets us where we're at, like
Hmm.
I feel like when you stop and you get still and you do focus on your breath, like I feel like that energy, the that divine stillness, it meets us wherever we're at. So
Hmm.
sometimes it's just a container for me to empty the contents of my mind.
Right.
Sometimes if I arrive with a heavy heart, that stillness can fill me with a little bit more peace.
Right.
Sometimes it allows me space to release a well of tears.
Right.
Um, and then most importantly, I feel like when I slow down and I really um, focus on going inward, that stillness, it just helps me heal and connect to a place that
Right.
I think naturally is where peace resides, joy, thrives, and um, I think love and happiness just flow naturally and
Right.
abundantly. But
Right.
when
Wow.
we are so full of chaos and we are mirroring what's going on in the outside world, it's like we aren't able to tap into that space. So,
Mm.
I mean, just like I feel like meditation or that making a conscious effort to still ourselves is it's like any self-care practice, it requires cultivating it and it requires an ongoing commitment. Like when we put together an exercise program, it's like if you have a regular routine, you feel it, you feel the effects of it, you feel good, and when you stop or take a break or fall off the wagon, you
Right.
feel the effects of it too. And so
Right.
I feel like meditation and making a conscious effort to still and go inward is is very similar, you
Right.
know.
No, I get that. It's the one thing about stillness that I don't want to say I'm having a hard time with, but it's like something that I want, but at the same time, it seems like something that's elusive, right? So it's like, oh, I so desire to have a stillness in my, in my being, but that's, I got too much stuff going on. I almost said it right. There's too much stuff going on in my life to kind of have that, and kind of, it's like I have to give myself permission to
Mhm.
just calm down, to just sit in that container that you were saying, and so there is an awareness of where I am. Right,
Mhm.
this
Mhm.
is where I am,
Mhm.
and just be with that.
Yeah. Because I feel like when we do give ourselves permission to do that, like a lot of times, we really feel moved to give, to be there, to do stuff for others, and you know, that busyness isn't always just like, just busyness. It's doing
Right.
good in the world, and it's putting ourselves out there and trying to be there for our loved ones and friends and wanting to make an impact on the world. But I feel like with the stillness part, it's a place where even if you start small, maybe 2 minutes a
Right.
day, it's nothing that you don't just start running a 26-mile marathon
Right.
overnight either, so
Right.
even just starting very small bites, you'd be amazed at how it makes a difference. It's like eating. Like, we don't just eat once a week and fill in 5 hours of eating on a Saturday, so we're done for the week.
Right.
Like, we have to, we have to have a little bit every day so that
Right.
we feel nourished. And just like that, I feel like that stillness nourishes our soul. And
Right.
so that nourishment and that stillness, like if you compare it to nature, right? Like, if we think of things on a macro level and a micro level, if like stillness, if if nature can mirror us, let's say, and like nature allows things to get grounded and present, and it also can like if you think of a mountaintop on a clear sunny day, it's like peaceful, and a lake that has no movement, and
Right.
you can just really take it in. But
Right.
if you're in a bustling city and you're just going 50 miles an hour, there's still
Right.
so much beauty in that same place, but
Right.
you only really notice it is if you stop and like really just get still for a minute to take in the beauty of even that,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And so that's why, like, it's easy when, like, we're in a place that fosters that peace, like in nature, in different places, it helps cultivate it. But then to be able to cultivate it in the busyness of our life, that's
Right.
when I feel like we really get to tap into that magic.
Right. No, I so much appreciate that. I have been working on my changing my framework of nature, because I have this picturesque relationship with nature, right?
Mhm.
I love the look of the beach, right? I love the look of the mountains and the woods and and all that other kind of stuff. But I I hate sand, right? I hate, I hate the bugs in the woods, right? I hate all the other things that come with that, So I allow those other things that show up in nature that cause me from enjoying the messages, the
Mhm.
appreciation of nature. And so I am working really hard because, where I live, there's like a waterfall downtown. That was one reason why I moved to Greenville. So it's like I can quickly go downtown and sit and hear the waterfall and be, all is right in the world again. But there is this awareness and and unawareness of really what nature is saying, is causing, is inviting me to do in those moments where I sit still and not I guess be so worried. And I think that's the thing about um I guess I want to say my life, but most of the suffering that I have is when I'm out of the flow of my life,
Mhm.
when I
Mhm.
am trying to say, okay, this is what I feel that my body needs, or this is what I have an inkling to do, but I can't do that because, of something. I need to hold on to this or that.
Mhm.
The more that I just allow things to happen, sit still in that moment and go, okay, this is what we're doing. This is how, I'm going to take a nap right now, or, or something like that.
Mhm.
There is this recharge. There is this momentum. There is this um, stillness that's available to me that in some cases it feels like I'm fighting that more than just embracing that and accepting that.
Mhm.
Is that a societal thing that we're just, the busyness of life? I mean, even the term of that we just feel that we have to our life has to be busy or it's not living.
I think it's just the age we're in, like if you think about it, like every age seems to be moving faster and faster, and the digital age is like the hyper age, it's like,
Right.
I mean, how much faster can you go than getting like 90 emails a day? At a time we would receive maybe 1 or 2 letters a day and have 6
Right.
weeks to respond to it,
Right. Right.
So,
Right. It's
I mean, when now you're expected to respond to everybody with text and messenger and this, and, like
right.
immediately, and there's a
Right.
sense of um, urgency behind, what do you want to eat for lunch today? When
Right.
it doesn't have to have that. So, I mean, I don't think I think it's the time we're in right now, and
Right.
trying to figure out how to, you know, um, enjoy the gifts of our present age, but at the same
Right.
time, not internalize all of that, the
Right.
speed of it, because we are naturally not made to function at that level, and we see the repercussions when you move 90 miles per hour every single day of your life without stopping. That's,
Right.
a lot of time when people get sick and they get burned out, and then there's this list of repercussions that happen because of that.
Right.
But
I
like when
no, I was just no, I hate to interrupt you because you're really saying something that really connected with me. That even in the busyness of the technology age that we're in, the fact that stillness is still available fascinates me. That
it's so true.
it's still available to us if we are willing
Hmm.
to do it. And it's like, wow, yeah, it's like,
Hmm.
let technology do what it's going to do. Let the age that we're in have appreciation of, yeah, that's great. Because of technology,
Hmm.
we're able to have this conversation, but
Yeah, totally.
also because of this conversation, we're able to disconnect from all of that and really,
Exactly.
and really, wow. So yeah, that invitation to stillness is always present.
Yeah, and I think it's important because, like, you're right. Like, we can easily, pack our schedules with work, family, friends, classes, play dates for kids, endless social media scrolling.
Right.
Like, there's so many ways to fill um, our life, But basically, what I think is interesting about this age is that it it it's like it's made to like keep ourselves constantly engaged, but so engaged that I feel like if we don't get still, we lose touch with ourselves because
Hmm.
we're so reliant on these other things to fill our lives that when they're kind of taken away, we feel lost, we feel confused, we feel sad or empty. Like with this pandemic, so many people are used to like running full speed ahead, not spending much time at home between traveling and having, meeting friends, going out and just keeping busy on an external level. To
Right.
have to stop is has been hard, right? And it I think that shows us like we rely on so many external things to bring us those that fulfillment or that happiness,
Right.
but in the end they're all things that have begin and end times. Like none of them are super um reliant
Right.
reliant in the sense of like they're going to provide lasting happiness, and
Right.
because of you know the nature of relationships, of events, of, you can think of things on a big level or even if on a small level, like a good meal or a good, your favorite TV show, everything eventually ends. And
Right.
so to be able to cultivate a place inside you where you can feel that fullness without necessarily constantly feeling to need be filled from the outside.
Right.
I mean, I think it's special.
Yeah. Wow. Um, you reminded me of all the shows that I've liked that were canceled. It's like, really? Was I the only one watching this? This was a good show right here.
Yeah.
And it's like gone. And like because I could never I think it's a Dr. Seuss quote of, don't something I don't know why I brought it up, because I didn't know the whole thing. It was, something about don't be sad that it didn't happen, but be happy that it happened, or something. I don't know. I'll have to look at it later. So maybe the people that are watching knows that one. But yeah, there is the level of, gratefulness, and the level of, just I'm just looking at, the cards that showed up for this conversation, the complete, the completeness, that we have access, and all the crazy, we have access to still, right? We, and it is within that invitation. And I keep coming to that word, and it's, that, it's that choice. It's one of the many choices that we have. But I don't know. I don't know if you said it or not, but it's everything. Stillness is everything. And the more that we embrace that everything, then we can have everything. We are available to everything. We can find enjoyment and love and appreciation and gratitude, all the things that we say that we want, but in some cases that we feel, I'm sorry, I'm speaking for other people, speaking for myself.
Yeah.
I feel that, I don't have time. And what just came up for me is your cards again. Is that the every time I would look at your cards, and all the beauty of what you've created, I
Thank
would
you.
smile, right? A smile would come over to me, because it was like a gift to myself, because I looked at it and I read it, and then I immediately wanted to or thought of people to share it with. And so it's like, that's what stillness is for me. It's like, soon as I get there, all of the love and everything becomes available, not just for myself, but
Totally.
but people are around me. And that's what you do. That's the whole,
Because joy is contagious.
right. It's contagious. It's
Yeah.
contagious. It is
Yeah.
really, and it's from the soul, right?
Yeah.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
um there's just a level of peace just in this conversation, and just the awareness, of this. There's a lot of changes that are coming within this show, within our, within my business, and within, your business, and open up your store back in the fall, right? Right. Right. And just being still and know that it's all good. It's all good.
It's all
And
good.
it's not going to us worrying about, there I go, speaking for everybody, right? For it's for me to worry about, or concerned about all of the things, and it's big things, right? It's not,
It's big.
it's right. It's not like, it doesn't have to be a sense of denial, because for me, there is a sense that if I am not concerned about the big things that are happening in the world, I am hiding my head in the sand and all that other kind of stuff. And it's just like, I need to let that go. It's like, the more that I am still and kind of, I don't want to say disconnect from that, but really look in, then I can really be available, or cause change, or cause influence, or make an influence in the chaos, or the things that are around me.
Exactly.
And so I think there's so many people, this is how they occur to me, that they just want to be in the busyness of today, you know, and bitching about the pandemic, and talking about how people matter and don't matter, and how people are showing up that are, hateful, or all that other kind of stuff. And yes, I want people to to speak and through that. But and the only way for me to really contribute to anything is to really sit quiet for a while and say how. Anytime that the knee-jerk reaction, first response, wrong, right? No matter how righteous I feel that I am, the first response is typically wrong for me, right? And it is, and even it's like, I don't know. I think I heard an amen from the other room from my wife, but maybe that was just in my head, right? It's like, but it is something that really there is. I think this moment is calling us to get still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if we still have a choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if we take this invitation, there will be the difference will be made.
Mm-hmm. I agree completely. Yeah, stillness is special. I mean, it allows us to get grounded and present. It provides a space for us to listen and learn. Um, it also provides calm and a space to rejuvenate. And it opens us up to perspective and gratitude in a different way.
Right.
And I think because it just allows us to tap into a much more divine energy within us. And so I feel like ultimately it just helps us get comfortable in our own skin and content with who we are, where we're at, and where we're going.
Right. Let me something that just came up for me, and because it was something that you mentioned in your introduction, so I just got curious about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of the stillness that you kind of stepped in. You were able to um, now get into your writing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do a lot of, I guess, show up differently. How was that process of really saying that, hey, this is now I'm going to show up, and this is what is next for me?
It's been awesome. I mean, it's definitely brought up fears and stuff because I know that the writing, writing these books has been like a something like a deep dream of mine. It's like I know that these books have been tucked in a deep place in my heart for a long time. So bringing them to fruition definitely brings up a lot of things. But I feel like just giving this pause with my store for now that it happened unexpectedly, and it's such a blessing because I am able to now put this time towards my writing, and it has been awesome.
Right.
It's just given me so much time to reflect and think about things, and it's just provided me so much perspective. And I'm so
Right.
excited about it because I feel like, so much of it is around all of this, because at the heart of everything I do, like meditation, I feel like is like one of the most amazing gifts, only because like when we really get still, we are tapping this unlimited potential within ourselves that we don't usually know how to access. And I've heard that before, and it was always really hard for me to grasp as well. But the more you practice regularly, the more like the gifts start showing up themselves, and it's just like it's amazing when your inner world gets quiet, how you can really hear your soul. You're constantly being advised and guided, warned, and and it's just special.
Yeah, I think it. Did you say hidden in your soul that it was something? It was
Well, it's
that.
always in your
Right. I really, that really touched me there because, I recently, published a couple of children's books, And a couple of years ago, if you'd have talked to me, hey, do you believe you're going to write a children's book? It's like, no, right? It's like, that's like, no, I had like no awareness that was in there, right? That those books were in there. And when you said that, I was like, what is hidden in my soul that was just waiting for me to get still to be aware of? I mean, it's like I said, all of this is like, it's like turning it into like a game for me. It's like, all right, let's kind of go, man. One of my core values is curiosity, but so it's like, it is coming up. It's like, okay, when we gonna get still? When we gonna get still? Right? It's like, come on, let's go, let's go. It's just, there is just this level of excitement of just really calming myself, and I think, it's like a gift, and I'm like really saying at all the things they're happening in my world, right? Right now, it just feel like this is the moment that I can get another understanding and the power of being still,
That's awesome.
and the act of being still, because if I believe if we didn't have this conversation, I would still be wrestling with, hey, are we being lazy right now? Or is this self-care type of thing? And that's not the conversation at all. It is just getting present to what is present, right?
Yeah.
It's leaving a space for what is here and what, and within that, the grace, the joy, the laughter, the tears, whatever needs to show up in that stillness is for me. It's for the world. It's something, and I think that's what the I just, like I said, I don't know. I just went someplace right now, so it's like, come back.
Well, it's definitely an ongoing journey,
Right.
It's like if the soul, if our soul is like a mirror. I'm sorry, did I go out?
No, I still see you. Do you?
Okay.
Are you?
I saw a spinning circle on my.
Oh, okay.
If our soul is like a mirror, it's just like all these years of just our habits and our ways of thinking, like they've created like, it's almost like we're kind of cleaning off the mirror and trying to really get to the heart of who we are, the essence of us. And that's why I feel like it's an ongoing practice. And then it can get covered up again too. Like the minute we start going like crazy busy, we forget to clean it, and it starts getting covered up again. So get still is a special thing to do on an ongoing basis, and it takes time, it takes dedication, patience, determination, but just the most important part, I feel like, is just sticking with it, because
No, I love the cleaning off the mirror. I'm going to use that again. That I love that. I love that image, because I think a couple months ago or something, I got this image of, like being in a fog, and that the conversations that I was having like this and the people around me was helping me give a clearing for that. And the more that I stay in these type of conversations, the more that there is this clearing. And it's like a practice, right? And so for me, it is, what am I going to do? What mirror am I going to clear off, on a daily, and it's like, again, I hear my wife. It's like, yeah, you were brushing your teeth in there, and it's like, and it's like all over the place. That's the image that I get. It's like, you want to clean the mirror, right? That type of thing. So I don't. So maybe I need to have a conversation with my wife today, since my wife is coming in my head throughout this conversation a lot. But no, and clean the damn mirror, right? It's like, so, oh boy, the joys of conversations and things that come up, right?
Totally,
All right.
totally, yeah,
But
totally.
no, this is great. I think we could talk about this for hours because there is a clearing. There is a stillness, there's a calmness, and in that a lot of things come up. And
Mhm.
I am just honored um, that yeah, it's just that you've created the space because of this word. I typically do not, and I will say this, I typically do not allow, that's not the word, but take on the word that somebody likes, that it's like, hey, this is my word. Kind of do this. I just kind of love to do the random thing so we can just be in the conversation. But I'm so glad that I honored the this word, because as soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, I would love to know more about that, and I would really love to see how this is showing up. And if I would have just, the first response being, well, that's a great word, but I'm just going to pick the word randomly, like I do,
Mhm.
we wouldn't have had this conversation. And I am so, so glad that you were able to share this, how stillness is everything.
Thank you.
And it's really all of the other words and all the other things that I want to do and how I want to show up. It starts with stillness.
Yep,
It
exactly.
starts there.
Yep.
So within all of this, is anything else come up in this conversation that you want to leave everyone with?
No, I'm just grateful. And I want to go back to your cards again because I feel like the word stillness, like you also made reference to your cards, goes perfectly with the cards you pulled and being grateful, feeling complete, being you, doing you for you. And
Right.
the stillness is an awesome tool to use to do all of those things.
Wow. So
So thank
can't
you so much.
no, can't say anything more than that. Your website is there. We can't wait to have your store come back up, and
Me
your
too.
book, and all those things, all the things that you're putting out in the world to that will really change the world for everyone. I mean, there's this conversation, and it's like I will, like, in this conversation soon. But there was a conversation that I had recently about, being conscious to things, to just being aware of stuff. And what came up for me is that, they were saying making a difference in the world, right? And the
Mm.
bigness of that, and it's like, and being overwhelmed with that. And I felt in that moment in the conversation, and I felt like I wanted to share it here, is that the more that we are willing to embrace the awareness of being a difference in the world, then the smaller things, or the things that are right in front of us that we need to do, become easier or something.
Mhm.
And so I believe everything that you're doing is making a difference in the world, but
Aw,
it
thank
caused
you.
you to be really intentional and still, to really go to yourself and then put those things out, and that will make a difference. So I just really can't wait. I mean, like I said, every time, I give out your cards, I really, and this is like the third time, so I guess I need to go out and give out more cards today because it's come up like three times. But
Mm.
it is, I like make stories up in my mind of who received it, and how it's like, how it's like now on their refrigerator, and how it's, and how, how it's like in their wallet, or, or something. It's like all these things that can cause things to happen, and it will, Because every once in a while I'll look at the card that, I have for myself and go like, yeah, let's go. And
That's awesome.
yeah, so thank you very much. Like I said,
Thank you.
we'll say our goodbyes in the green room as I close the show. But
Okay.
this is great. I was honored to be still with you.
Thank you. Me too.
Okay, great. Oh wow. Um, yeah, there is um there's this calmness that I have. Like I didn't share. There's a lot of things that were going through my mind within this conversation and before this conversation, and wondering if I would really be in it. And but I love how stillness is creates a container to kind of let you see and be present to where you are, and just be there with it. Um, and that's the invitation for today. How is stillness showing up for you? Will you create a container to just kind of be with yourself? Um, yeah, I've accepted that invitation, and I pray that you accept that invitation too. I would love for you to reach out to me at iamwilliambrown.com if you want to have a conversation. I have a complimentary coaching session where we can see how you're showing up or not showing up, and just talk, because there is power within the conversation. Um, because the world wants you, the world needs you, and the world is waiting for you. So go be you. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you tomorrow.